Howdy, YouTube! To all the greetings, fellow Earthlings! I'm grateful you clicked on this video. We'll just get right to it. You see the title, held space for a wonderful soul sister. She's been participating in the great work / having fun with her ascension for, at least the last 10 years or so. Very committed to her perfecting her frequency. So going into it, I already had like a good feeling, like, okay, like this person, like they're caring for themselves, so for me to hold space for them, it's easier versus someone who doesn't care for themselves in any aspect. It makes it a bit more difficult for the practitioner to work their magic in a sense. So opening up ceremonial space, when we arrived at the forest location, I enjoy doing this outdoors as much as possible. She was very persistent on wanting to help. I'm grateful to have given her direction. So for the other shamans out there, if you want to integrate partially of how I set up, you're welcome to. Just take it as guidelines that you're welcome to tweak to your own liking. So I took inspiration from my shaman. He and her, they both had 4 selenite rods. So I got 4 selenite rods. I saw the value in it. So she wanted to help, so I walked her through creating of the magical space, consecrating the ground. I said, okay, face west. So the medicine wheel, each of the 4 directions, depending on which culture you follow, there's different medicine wheels. Each direction, cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west, they have a particular element attached to it. I'm in Northern America, and what I've learned is the medicine wheel, maybe of the people here, I think is where it's derived from. And west is water, north is earth, south is fire, and east is air. So she wanted to assist, and I'm still setting up shop anyways because we just arrived and I'm unloading all the ceremonial toys. So I said, okay, here's the selenite rod. Hold the rod to your heart space or your third eye, what have you. So as you're facing west, visualize water, or feel for water. How does water feel? Everyone's otherworldly senses are different. Whatever one they have a strongest compelling to choose. Everyone is different, so she chose whatever it was she did. She didn't tell me which she chose, but visualize water and really think about how much water loves you and how much you love water. Because without water, would we be here right now? Would we be alive? Essentially, what I'm getting at is the elements, the elementals, elemental allies, they're the life-giving forces of our existence. If one of them was missing, we wouldn't be here. So she did west, which is water. And then I try to balance it out. So west is water, that's feminine. Then I had her do fire next. South is fire, so masculine. Then earth was next. Earth is feminine. Then I did air, and I had some free time to spare, and I like to focus on the element of air a lot. Maybe it helps balance me out because I'm an earth sign, I'm a Taurus, but attempting not to take too much consideration into, my sun sign is this, so that means I have to be this way. I just kind of integrate it if it helps, if it applies, if it assists me with my growth, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse for how to live my life. Like, oh, I'm Taurus, so I'm automatically lazy and stubborn. Like some people kind of blame it on their sign. Like, no, it's all you. So she helped set up space, set up the ceremonial space, and then so then I gave her a little shovel, like a gardening shovel, a little small handheld one. Asked, she's already a loving person to begin with, so I asked her, if you can somehow get more in your heart, in a loving manner, dig a hole outside of the circle enough to fit a rock into, like a small rock. And then she's like, okay, so she goes out there, digs the hole as I'm still prepping what I need to. And then she dug the hole, and then she's like, okay, I'm finished. I was just there a few days before, which I recommend to other practitioners that partake outside, just to like check the grounds, move stuff around, clear branches away. So I already have rocks set to the side. So I grabbed a rock and I went outside there with her, outside of the circle where she dug the hole. So I like, first I kind of explained, and then I went into what grace was, like the saying, you know, prayer over the rock. So what we were getting at is, you know, it's very easy for us to only show the best parts of ourselves to the world, right? Like our higher self, you know, the best versions of us. We like to display it on the forefront, but like shadow aspects of us, it's very easy to like hide it and not to want to share those parts of us that are not in the highest alignment, in a sense. So we said a little grace over the shadow self, which was kind of something along the lines of, you know, like, I'm grateful to love every part of myself. You know, then she started to repeat after me. I did advise, you know, if you want to repeat after me, you may, or verbally in your head, just follow along. You know, I am grateful for my shadow self. You know, then her started following along. I'm grateful for my shadow self. I see you and I acknowledge you. I love you in every which way. What was the next part? All thoughts and emotions that are correlated with the shadow self, you're not welcome in this space. You know, like, all thoughts and emotions that are correlated with the shadow self, you know, I dismiss you. You're not welcome here. Like, I see you, I love you, but we are returning you home to where you belong, where you want to go. So then we kind of said that, you know, of course, narrate it in your own way if you decide to follow any of these practices. So the goal for the shaman, for the client, is to like get them in a calm, peaceful space, you know. Oh, and I explained to her too, before the grace, I said, like, you need to love all parts of yourself, you know, because if you just focus on your higher self, you don't focus on your shadow self, the shadow self, if neglected, it'll erupt out of nowhere and kind of like want to take charge of your life. You know, we're looking to be fully balanced, right? Fully integrated. I'm sipping this juice real quick. Recommend you guys drink some water too. If you're human and you drink water, probably drink some water. Oh, got a really great cold pressed juice here, guys. Super great cold pressed juice. It's so good. So, what was it? The client. Loving every part of yourself, because if not, it erupts. You know. So then we said the grace, buried the rock. So from the shaman's perspective, you know, we're having the client in the safety net. You know, the safety net is paramount, because during ceremonial space, especially with plant medicine, the participant is opening their heart up wide and they're free falling into your arms. And the shaman or curandero, energy worker, whatever you want to deem yourselves as, the shaman, what they're doing is they're the safety net. They're there to hold them. They're there to guide them. They're there to be receptive, observe, and love them in every which manner, every facet of their emotions that they navigate through. But also, too, like, to explain everything is not necessary. Kind of like, you know, when like you hire the plumber, hey, can you come in the house and fix the pipes? Oh yeah, sure. Like, he doesn't go into every which detail about what he's doing, why he's doing, you know, there's a reason I'm doing this technique because it gets this, you know, as long as you get the result, right? You hired the plumber for a reason. So for the shaman's perspective, what's going on is that when medicine gets involved, it's a portal opener, and there is a possibility of outside entities infiltrating the space, outside entities that do not have anyone's greatest good in mind. They might want to infiltrate the space, latch onto the participant. You know, it can be as slight as like just like a parasite latching on, or it can be as deep as like a full-blown stubborn entity that like takes its grasp of the person, like a possession in a sense. So if any of that happens, it's entirely the shaman's fault. They did not follow protocol with whether it's their dieta or whether they still have their own emotional baggage. or something of the sort. If the ceremony goes really haywire like that, where the client does get possessed, like, we take full responsibility of that. So it does, I'm grateful that it puts the practitioners in a more divinely aligned space to perfect and nurture their own self-care, to practice the teachings that they emit out to others of how to love and ground themselves. Of course, it's fine if, like, it's welcome and it's part of the experience if the participant's crying or they're frustrated or they're yelling real loud. Like, that's their emotions escaping, that's cool. That's the energy is flowing. That's a lot different than if they get possessed, or after ceremony if they feel like something's following them around, right? Like, there's a difference. There's no such thing as a bad trip. Like, it's your emotions get amplified during the ceremonial medicinal space. So we set up that rock. So that's my intention with the rock, but I don't fully disclose that, because if I tell someone that's very new, like, oh, you're taking this medicine and it's a portal opener, to everything, positive and negative, like a parasitic leech might latch onto you, or a big entity might possess you. Like, if you start to tell them and explain too much, it might draw them into fear, and you don't want their heart rate to go up like that, so you don't have to disclose that. We know what we're doing, and there's a reason intentional of every action that's happening in the ceremony. Just had a little bit more juice, guys. Get some more water on. And so, yeah, set up the space. She had her intention. During the car drive to the location, I had like a little book, and I wrote, like, on the first page, like, 3 things that you love about your life, whether inside of yourself or outside of yourself, So she wrote her 3 things, like, it was like peace, the peace she feels, and, the love within, and all this gloriousness. It could be outside of yourself, oh, like my kids, right? Or oh, I love that, I have a stability financially, like, whatever it is for you. Then on the next page, I had another question. It was like 3 things in your life that frustrate you / make you sad / anger you, / pull you away from that loving space, right? So then she wrote down her 3 things for that as well, which it's good to have, like, those different spectrums of how you feel, why you feel. And then, right before ceremony started, the answers to those questions, I, let her know it's not mandatory, but, those answers you wrote in the medicinal space when you intake the psilocybin. Psilocybin is this beautiful, wonderful entity, has thoughts and feelings like us. Beautiful, wonderful entity that has your greatest good in mind. And upon ingestion during the journey, you can discuss and have a conversation with psilocybin, right? And if you feel called, this book that you wrote in earlier, it's right by your side. So if you want to go over those questions with the mushrooms, you're encouraged to do that. I recommend ending on a positive note. That's the reason there's, like, a what frustrates you section and a what you love about your life section, so you can end on the positive, but of course lending awareness to the quote unquote negative. There's not really positive or negative, but that's a whole other topic, guys. It's a whole other topic. The shamanic perspective, we try to see it more as, like, positive is more lighter, and then negative is more heavier. Like, it's just a sensation, like the water's cold, oh, the water's hot. It attaching too much, like positive, negatives, kind of like it's right or wrong. Like, we don't want to experience negative when, like people, like, they don't want to be sad, they don't want to feel frustrated, but that's the human experience, right? Like, like, you're driving, and then the guy behind you bumps into you. Of course you can be a little frustrated. It's a big hassle. You gotta, like, get their phone number, get all this stuff sorted out, and, like, you go up to your little cousin, your nephew, and you slap the ice cream out of his hand, he might be sad when it hits the ground. Like, that's totally fine, you know? So the ceremonial space, I asked her to say her intention one last time before taking the medicine. And then from there, okay, we'll continue later, guys. So the last key point was she's set up ceremonially. We're outside in this beautiful nature spot. She's on a blanket. I advised her take shoes and socks off. Best to be earthing, because the higher you go, you need to be more grounded. So have your feet on the earth. You know, put your body on the blanket, or totally forego the blanket if you want. Her feet were on the earth and her body was on the blanket. I brought a pillow for her as well. Yes, I have a speaker there. I have a drum. I have other instruments. But I'm arriving at my grandma's house right now to gift her a massage. So we'll continue this, whatever this is, a podcast or a little video with just like a visual of a tree, whatever is going to be the picture. I'm grateful to be present with you guys. Thank you for listening. We'll definitely continue this conversation when I have more free time. Love you guys. See you later.